Thank you all for joining us tonight for our second annual Meet the Candidates Forum. A good opportunity for you to meet the candidates up for election for the board term 24 through 26. Appreciate the candidates making time to be here. Appreciate you all being here and taking advantage of this opportunity. The nominating committee, along with Ms. Deb Goslin here, who is going to be our moderator tonight, has been working over the last couple of months. So I don't want to take away from the moderator here, so I'm going to just introduce her. Thank you for your efforts leading up to this and being willing to moderate tonight. But without further ado, Ms. Deb Goslin.
Thanks everybody for being here. Really appreciate it. We're going to try to make this voice decibel a little bit louder this year. It appears that you guys can hear me. Zoomers were really having a problem. So I apologize if I'm going to make myself a little loud. The first thing I want to do is explain to you how we got here, because it wasn't just one or two steps. It was quite a few steps. So give me just a second to get my big reading glasses on. The potential nominating committee needed to expand a little bit this year. Some people moved off the committee. So initially the current board contacted several people like myself and said, will you do the work? Will you join us? And we went through interviews with the GM and then got an invite to actually join the nominating committee. So you got a combination of people that were on it last year that really knew what the heck they were doing, and some of us newbies that were learning as we went. Then we established convening of the committee to actually talk about the characteristics of the new board members that we needed to think about, the ones that were leaving this year, and how we could really bolster and continue to enhance the board. We then sent out documents to the entire golf membership community asking for candidacy. We got lots of good candidates. We also then reached out to other folks and looked to broaden the base of the candidacy. From there, they all came in. They did an amazing job with not only introducing themselves, but before they met with us in person, they had to send us a document. And the document was in their style, their attitude, why they wanted to participate in the board. And that gave them the opportunity to come and meet with us. When they met with us, we had a good portion of, I want to say 45 minutes to an hour with each of them, getting a chance to ask them questions, letting them not only respond, but also enhance with some of the things they thought we ought to know. And from there, the nominating committee got a chance to thank them all, sent them on their way, and then we began to do our vote. The vote needed to have a specific volume in it to bring everybody up to the top 4 candidates. Once the top 4 were identified, we let them know, made sure that they were still interested, and then we went on to the rest of the candidates that had not made the top 4 and thanked them very much and encouraged them to come back again in the future. The hard copy ballots as well as electronic ballots went out after that. We've had an incredible good return on those votes already so far. That's great because a lot of clubs have a difficulty even getting to quorum. So we're really thrilled to have all you guys here tonight along with people listening, because we need more votes, and the voting process will continue through almost the end of the month. It's the 28th, right? Yeah, the 28th. Now the candidate forum started last year. We felt that it was a really good return on investment. Thanks a lot for everybody coming again this year. And the format will be as follows. Each player up on the stage, each candidate will have a 1-minute introduction to give you an idea of who they are, why they want to be on the board and contribute. Then I'll start in as a moderator and ask anywhere from 8 to 10 questions. We'll start not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll float it further around each time so that you don't hear the same person starting and answering the questions. Once I get done with my questions, that all should take approximately a half an hour. Then we're going to turn the audience into the Q&A team, and you'll have an opportunity to ask them questions that you may not have heard answers to already. And we should be done within an hour. If we aren't, you guys can either pick up and scoot if you have to be someplace else, or we'll speed things up, okay? Any questions? Nope. All right. So we're going to start going from left to right and have each gentleman on stage give you an introduction that will take approximately 1 minute.
Excellent. Good work. My name is Ron Melchin. I've been a member since 2007. I've served on a number of committees. I've always enjoyed the club, but over the last 2 or 3 years, I've enjoyed it a lot more, quite frankly. The vision that has come into this club over the last 3 years with John, Josh, Mitch, people that have had the foresight to make change. I appreciate that, and I support it. And I see this for myself as not a vanity tour in any way. There's no psychic benefit for me to serve on the board. I'm happy to do it. It's gonna be work. And I hope if I'm elected, I'm the board member that nobody really hears about, because I'd like to be doing the work behind the scenes and, making sure that, decisions are made on an informed basis and that we do the very best we can to serve all the members of this club. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Henry Hagra. I have been a member here for about 12 years. And I have a wife, 3 kids, and we've all participated in most of the activities around the club. Obviously golf, I'm a big golfer. My children have played the tennis and my youngest daughter in golf. My wife uses the fitness facilities. I've had the opportunity over the last 10 or so years to really experience just about every aspect of the club. And so I get an idea of what each aspect of it means for all of us. I also have served on the Greens Committee for the last 2 years and have seen from the back, from the quiet part, how decisions are made and how they benefit us and how the good decisions lead to good outcomes and good experiences for all of us. Had the opportunity to meet Michelle and Andrew and obviously Josh and Justin. I'm volunteering to be on the board and hope to get your vote, because I just want to continue the great work that's been done so far and to continue to help the management of the club and the board of the club bring us the experience that we all hope to receive each time we come here and make us proud of this club and proud to bring our friends back. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Kenny Sisor. Joanne, my wife, and I've been members since 2005. We're active golfers. She's on SWIG and she was the captain about 10 years ago. I play golf 2 to 3 days a week and plan on playing more. We're both native Sacramento people. She's from Carmichael. I'm from another part of Sacramento I don't talk about. I don't know, do you want to, what was the question for this introduction?
Not a question, just why you want to do this.
Okay. Well, I just think it's time that I give back to the club. I've worked on some committees with the original construction on the gym, and then a few other things. I've helped rebuild the docks and did things over the years, but I've never been a board member, so I just think it's time. So that's why I'm.
First of all, I just want to say thank you to all those on C-SPAN watching us on the live stream. No, thank you for being here tonight and for putting effort into ensuring that the future of this club has the right composition on the board. I think just listening to the stories, we're very fortunate to have members who are willing to serve and volunteer. And I'm here because I love this club. I'm very passionate about the present and the future of our club. My wife, Adaria, she told me don't mention her, so I know I just violated that rule. But my wife, Adaria, and I have been members since 2018. And early on, it was only me who would come around, and everyone knew me, never knew my wife. So then when they met her, they said, "Oh, you're Timothy's wife." And then the moment I turned around, she's at the gym every day. She's golf lessons on Tuesdays. We just had dinner after their golf lessons. My son Vance is 8. Very much active in the club. Now I'm Adaria's husband, and which I think is amazing. I think the fact is we're very invested in this wonderful club. We're not from the area. We're originally from SoCal, and then met my wife in the Central Valley in Ripon, and then moved up here. And I can tell you the connective tissue that this club brings from the community standpoint, friendship, all the memories that we made. Our life revolves around this. You were asking why do you want to run? It's not because this is a stepping stool to run for some public office. I have no interest in that. This is just to ensure that I can at least serve and help move the needle forward to build an enduring club in the future. And I volunteered for the finance committee and the rules committee. Also volunteered for First Tee and serve on other boards. And so I have a little experience there, but just happy to be a member. If you don't vote for me, I'll see you at the bar and we'll cheers together for the future of our club. I forgot to tell you, my name is Timothy Torres, sorry. That's right.
Gotta make sure it's working. Hello, hello, hello. All right, now we're gonna start the moderated questions section of it. We're gonna start at 2, 3, 4, 1, and then we'll just keep moving it around, so nobody gets a chance to do the first answer duty throughout the whole thing. We've got 5 different sections, guys, just to give you a feel for it. One is club experience. The other is communication, representation, unification of the membership. The third is views on the future of the club and current challenges. The fourth is about financials, and the fifth is about governance. So we've got 2 questions in each category. Depending on how fast we're going, we may cut it back to just 1 question per, but it depends on how well we manage the 1-minute responses and the 1 minute or the 30-second questions. All right, so here goes the first one. Mr. Number 2. What motivates you to seek a position on the board of directors, and how do you envision contributing to the betterment of our country club? You shared a little bit of that, but expand on it, Henry.
So, as I said, I've been here for a little over 10 years, and I've seen the first expansion that we had with the gym. We went from a closet to an actual gym, the one we have now. And I've seen the expansion, obviously, what we've gone through over the last couple of years. I feel like the details matter for all of the projects that we do. So sort of on the Greens Committee, I realized little details matter a lot. And I applaud the people who have really looked at the fine details for instance, the putting green or the bunkers, doing a lot of work. And I realize how much I'm a detail-oriented person, just training in my personality. And I realize what small details can make a big difference in the outcomes of the things that we do. And that's sort of what motivated me to serve on the board against volunteership. Happy to put the work in because I know a lot of other people who put a lot of work in before me, continue that tradition and continue moving our club forward in a positive way, helping the management get what they need in order to accomplish things like, equipment to mow the lawn or whatever it might be. But I'm hoping to bring my attention to detail to the projects or the things that make all of our experiences better.
Thank you. Pass it the baton. Second question, what caused you shared a little bit of it with us, but in essence, what caused you to want to be a part of the board?
Well, I'm a general contractor, industrial, commercial, multifamily, and I have the expertise of ideas and helping in the area that needs something in that category, where I know Kevin, who handled the last couple of years with the course and all that, did a great job. He probably needs relief. So that's really the reason I'm running. I know I have things that when I did the first go around with the gym and some of the projects I did underneath, I saw how inefficient our club is inside the ropes, mainly the kitchens and deliveries and storage and freezers and coolers. We've outgrown a lot of that, and it's really hard for all the workers and staff to keep up with what we demand out here. So I think there's a lot of work that's probably and equipment that's aging out because 25, 27 years old. It's probably time to take a look at all that. I know we have to swallow what we've just done, which is beautiful, great job to everybody that did it, but we have to keep looking forward.
Thank you. Timothy, same question. What was your motivation? Rather than being, whose husband?
I mean, I think that the bottom line is we all care deeply about our club. And in a lot of conversations over the last several years, there's been a lot of banter about how can we make our club better? And, there's no shortage of people that can find problems very fast. We've got the best people in the world that can find problems. But I think at some point you have to stop admiring the problem and talk about, okay, how can we make this better? How can we bring solutions to the table that don't leave a dead bird in the hands of the management of this club and the board, but allows all of the members to have confidence that there is a brighter future ahead. And for me personally, I just like my colleagues up here, I care deeply about how we can navigate through the challenges and get to a better place. And so bottom line is wanting to be a part of the solution rather than the problem, and throwing my name in the hat and doing what I can to move this forward.
Thank you. Pass it back on to Ron.
No.
Same question.
Yes, once again, it's about the recent vision that's been created over the last 3 years. I think it's inspired. I think it's something that I embrace and something I appreciate because it took courage. It took a lot of work. I had some behind the scenes activities to help that. But in my background, I'm an attorney. I do business law, corporate law. I represent about 350 corporations, and I'm corporate counsel to all 350 of them. I also have been on a number of nonprofit boards. I was on the board of Easter Seals for 17 years, even though their bylaws said I could only serve for 8. We worked around that, and I was the board chair for 3 of those 8 years. So I think I've tried to avoid being involved, but I think I'm at a point now where I feel like I need to be involved, and I want to bring my expertise to assist. And once again, I want to be the quiet people. I want to be George Harrison and take care of business behind the scenes as best I can and move forward.
Thank you. So the next question coming up, we're going to move it down to number 3. And we'd like to ask Kenny the following question. You all have described history and what you've been involved with. So I'm going to kind of jump over that question and go to the next one. That is, how will you ensure the members' feedback and concerns are heard and considered by the board?
Well, I haven't been on the board yet, so I don't really know how this all comes to you. I'm gonna have to experience it firsthand and just make intelligent decisions, who to talk to, throw everything at Josh is probably not the right thing, so discuss it with the board and go from there, whatever the issue is.
Thank you.
I love the rest of my time.
And Timothy will take it.
So I think that one of the things that I'm very grateful for is to say that I've met a lot of people in the short time that I've been here. And I don't really have a clique. And same with my wife. We're just friends with everybody. And there's not like a faction that is our posse. We're here, we're members, we love everybody. And because of that, and because of the fact that I feel that I'm approachable, and I think that people feel that I'm willing to listen. And I think what I bring to the table is just having hours of conversations with various members from all spectrums, whether it's swing or whether it's the Saturday groups that are earlier, whether it's OTAC or whether it's at the bar, or whether it's people, it doesn't matter. It's just being willing to listen and value everyone's input and understand, have a pulse on like, what is the sentiment? What direction are we going as it relates to the perspective of our cherished members? And so I think to answer that directly is to really lean in heavily on being accessible, approachable, thoughtful and listening, and tempering that against the challenges that we have, and doing my best to be a good communicator and listener and to help shape the board's decisions and direction.
My answer can be a little different. I see that all of us have biases. We're all different. We all come from different age groups. Somebody that's 42 has different perspectives and goals than someone that's 62 versus someone that's 82. And so, my hope is that I can recognize my own biases. For example, it's obvious I don't go to the gym. I haven't been to the pool in 5 years, but are they important? Absolutely, they're important. But I want to listen to everybody. I do not want to be a conflict guy. And what I want, if the question is material for the board, I will make sure that it's there. However, there are some questions and concerns of members that really aren't board oriented. And because I know the bright line distinctions of that, I may have to tell somebody, I understand, but it's really not a board issue. Perhaps you need to talk to X. So that they have a point of finding a resolution without thinking that the board is the end all be all, because it's not, quite frankly.
Thank you, thank you.
It's actually interesting. I was thinking about this. I thought, well, what if I am elected to the board? How would I really feel the pulse of the members' concerns? And back up to my experience on the Greens Committee, we were having trouble this season with the burnout of the fairways, and we worked with Josh and Brandon and the Greenskeeper to get out a memo or a statement from the Greens Committee to the membership to let them know what was going on, what we knew, what we were going to do about it, how long it's going to take. But that kind of got me thinking about, well, how do we get the feedback from people? Because we clearly, everybody was talking about the difficulties we're having this summer. And I thought, well, first of all, having that two-way communication between the committees and the membership helps. And also to solicit feedback from those statements. And really just to be an asking sort of a guy, and part of my personality, my training is to ask questions to people. Say, hey, look, and I did this, happened to golf with a bunch of people I didn't know the other day, and say, hey, look, guys, just out of curiosity, king for a day, what would you do here? What do you miss? What was your experience in the places? Just ask, be inquisitive, say, hey guys, what do you think? This isn't my club. This is your club. And you help us bring your ideas and your solutions to the problems that we have and implement them on your behalf. We work for you.
Right, next question, gentlemen. We're doing well. We are at 4 minutes till 7, so we're gonna go a little bit over some of these questions and then open it back up to the audience. This is a financial question. Country clubs require careful financial management and have a very unique business model. Can you share your experience in financial oversight, budgeting, or fundraising, and how you plan to ensure the club's financial stability?
Great question. Whoever asked that, I hope you're here. Thank you. So we'll just start with my service here. I have served on the finance committee. And in terms of experience, working with management and the finance committee to help ensure that we have a stable operating budget, that we look at our capital allocation, we look at long-term planning, we look at what we need to do to sort of meet our obligations, whether it's inflation that we're dealing with, whether it's the costs for staff that keeps going up, whether it's insurance costs, ensuring that we manage all of that to the outcome of not continually put the burden on the membership. However, the same challenge we understand is inflation around the United States and around the world has been pretty significant. And so my experience recently, not in 2023, but in 2022, was just the beginning of dealing with cost control measures that we've had to understand. And now you balance what you have from a budget standpoint against expectations of the members. It's challenging. And there's a lot of back and forth around ideas on how can we support management to come up with sharpen the pencils I'll tell you, I've heard feedback from members that they don't want to see Mondays used for outside guests and tournaments because of the wear and tear on the course. But then there's a cost associated with that because that's part of the budget. And so learning to understand what the levers are, it's not really black and white, it's very complicated. Understanding how it works, what the levers are, what the trade-offs are, and then helping propose solutions to management and the board to make those right decisions. It's difficult. There's not one single person that has that answer. I think my experience is to bring a perspective that allows sort of the voice of the member to be considered in the management process of the budget. I hope that helps.
So going back to Easter Seals, I was board chair for 3 years, 2009, 10, and 11. Does anyone remember those years? They were tough. And we created a deeper, bigger reserve under dire circumstances. Because we, made some tough decisions. But we made sure that services were there because Easter Seals serves people with disabilities from cradle to grave. And so it was very important to me that everyone was served, but we had to look at efficiency. With that in mind, and once again, I'm personally fiscally conservative. I don't have any debt personally. I try to avoid debt at all costs. But in order to run an organization like this, we have to have the right people, we have to have the right management, and we have to pay them so that this machine works. There's 450 to 900 very smart people in this club. That's the Class A members. They're all successful, husbands and wives, and they have high expectations, but we can't do it if we don't have the staff to make it happen. So from a fiscal and financial perspective, I think we're moving in the right direction. I'm not concerned about cost cutting. I'm concerned about making things here and seeing if we can make things even better.
Thank you.
I have done some financial work for the corporation that I work for, but more importantly, I think I'm more of a fiscally prudent person in my personal life. I believe in, of course, having nice things and having a country club membership, of course, but saving for rainy days so that when those rainy days come, we have the resources and the wherewithal to meet those challenges without being overburdened. I'm also sensitive to how much we're already paying for our membership, and certainly we all have an extra amount because of the wonderful projects that we've done around here. We need to balance, as any household would or any business does, balance the needs and the wants of everybody based on the needs or the desires of the membership. Again, we work for you, we do things on your behalf, and it's looking at the finances. If we can offer more employees to do more things on our behalf, it's great. But again, we do have to balance the needs of what we want out of the club with financially prudent decisions.
Well, finances, so we ran our construction company kind of the same way, watching every nickel dime for many years, never overextending. And we ended up being a very successful company. I think this club is kind of the same way. You cannot overextend. Everybody's got to find what level cost it does to run this place every day, every event, all the food and drinks, employees. You just can't keep throwing money at it unless you have it. So obviously, I don't know where all that money would be coming from in the future. What would motivate more people to spend more money here, which has always been an issue. Some things aren't probably as successful as you think it would be, whether it's a wedding or how much money do you really get for weddings. If I remember right, it wasn't nearly as much as I thought we would get. So I think they slowed down a little bit in that area. But the financial situation now in Toronto, I think it's pretty solid, what I understand, Mitch. So I just think we keep it in good hands and paying attention to it.
All right, next question.
Uh-oh.
That's it.
Starting with me.
That's it to you. This is in regard to governance.
I love that.
All right. Mr. Lawyer,
Sir,
can you explain your approach to board governance?
Yeah.
And collaboration and decision-making with fellow board members and members at large?
Okay, actually, this is a great question.
Oh, that's why we chose you.
So I think from a board member's perspective, and this is based upon my experience, you have to do a deep dive into the formation documents of the entity, which is the bylaws, the articles, the subscription documents, so that you understand what the limitations are of the board and what the role of the board is. And quite frankly, in my mind, that's what I would see me doing, is kind of making sure that when we're talking about things, we're talking about things that the board has authority to do. And the only way that you can know that is if you have a clear understanding of the bylaws and the articles, right? And then secondly, the next tier of analysis is it the right thing to do? And then it's a question of, is it in the best interest of the board and the club? And has everyone done enough research to make an informed decision? Because that's the board member's obligation. You have to be curious enough about these detailed issues so that you can sit in a board meeting and ask questions that may not be popular at times, but they're important.
Thank you. One more time. Can you explain your approach to board governance and collaborative decision-making with fellow board members and members at large?
So I kind of thought about this a little bit before I got here, and I thought, first of all, you have to be able to work in a positive manner with your fellow board members. You have to be respectful of people, even if they've got different opinions or different perspectives. And so I think that's first, because I think that historically, in the last couple of years, there has been some contention between people. That's actually one of the things they asked us when we were talking about volunteering to be a board member, was the history of contention between almost 50-50 with the club. So I think that bringing a spirit of collegiality and acceptance and respect for people is paramount. You can't make board decisions with people that you don't get along with. That's not good. Number two, and I thought about this is with the Greens Committee, I kind of approach it a little bit, is say, I guess my philosophy is help give the people who do the things for us the tools they need to do those things. So whether it's the equipment, say for instance, the kitchen, or the equipment out of force, or in the staffing necessary to clean the gym, or whatever it might be, my philosophy is to help the people who get the actual work. We as board members don't do anything. They don't cook food, we don't do anything. Get the people who work here the tools necessary to do great things for us so that we can enjoy this well.
Thank you.
One more time.
All right. Easy question. That's right. I told you a few of these questions are a little depth oriented. Can you explain your approach to board governance and collaborative decision-making with fellow board members and members at large?
I think that's probably where I'm good at it. I talk to people well, I listen well, I never draw judgments quickly because I have a bias on what somebody's talking about. I want to hear their side, that side, board side, and just get it on the table and treat everybody respectively. Try to come up with a solution, and I think that's, probably the best thing to do.
Thank you.
I just want to copy paste the legal aspect of Ron's answer. And then I'll add a couple things. One is, so I am currently in the last 4 years a board member for a healthcare company. And I've had the privilege of being the chair of the audit committee and the quality committee. And I've had experience in that. And what's interesting and also unique about that is, this is our home, right? This is our club. After all this, we're gonna go probably have a glass of wine together and talk about family and golf. That's different than a corporate board. But as a board member, we still have a duty of care and loyalty to the club and to the stakeholders of the club. To ensure that the mission and vision and strategy from a long-term planning standpoint is commensurate to what the membership expects. And that we have the right management and leadership in place. And that they have the right tools, they have the right support, they have the right governance and advice from the board to enable us to get there. From an overarching standpoint, that's how I view being on the board and serving, is being a proxy as a member and helping enable our future success and navigating the current challenges. The other side is, because we're all members of this club, from a collaboration standpoint, that could go really well. Or sometimes because we let our guard down, there could be a lot of personalities and challenges and other dynamics that are at play. And I think that from my perspective, how I would work on being a collaborator is starting with, what are we trying to accomplish? What does success look like? What are the challenges that we're dealing with? And what is the barriers that we're all sort of dealing with? And then understand how I can provide support and provide the right ideas and the right guidance to get through those. At the end of the day is having trust and communication between your colleagues. If you don't have trust and communication, it's really hard to get that engine started. And so I think that that's probably one of the traits that I would bring, is to just have that trust and communication with my colleagues and be able to talk through things and not put ego and agenda and sort of my own desires first, but to understand, what does success look like and how can I do that?
Gentlemen, you did really well on the moderator questions. Thank you guys for doing what you did so nicely. I still have a bunch more, but I'm looking at the clock. We now have 20 minutes left of our hour. That 20 minutes should come to you guys to ask questions. If we run out of questions from the audience, I still have more questions. So we promised we will stop at 7:30, but anybody that has an interest in asking a question of the 4 gentlemen up here, I'm gonna pass the mic and let Josh run and share the mic with you so that the guys on Zoom can actually hear what we're talking about, okay? Anything?
I'll ask a question. I love your answers so far. Thank you very much. So looking ahead, I think all of you know I'm currently on the board and I look forward to serving with some of you. We do need to have a succession plan, and I've heard a lot of people talking about wanting to serve behind the scenes, which is all well and good, but this club does have a president, a vice president, a secretary, and treasurer on the executive committee. So what would be your interest in serving on the executive committee, and what position would you be interested in? So Ron, we'll start with you.
Starting with me. I will serve in any position that the president and the executive committee wants me to serve. Period. So from top to bottom, but I am not here to be a candidate to go to the highest levels. But if it is executive committee wants me to do, I will serve.
We were actually asked this question when we were interviewing to be board candidates. And I thought about it, I said, well, I wouldn't be foolish enough to believe that without any board experience, I could be president. But I would serve in any capacity other than that the board felt I was qualified and capable of doing. I certainly have no interest in elevating myself to any particular office. I'm just here to serve and help the board in any way that I can. The only office I would shy away from is president, only because I've never been on this board before. But anything else would be, acceptable for me, as long as it was at the pleasure of the rest of the board members not for my sympathy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nice try. I would, serve on just about any committee also. Obviously, building committee would be my interest. Maybe membership, if that's what's needed, I wouldn't mind. I like going out and meeting people. Greens committee, there's a lot of things that have already been done here, which is an advantage for us to work. They've done a great job up till now. But I would serve anywhere you want me to serve as president. It'd be a tough one. You'd have to find a lot of line.
So the question was asking you as well, what would you like to serve on? What would you like to do? And I really said the answer is, what is needed? This isn't the Four Seasons for me where I show up and be served as a board member. I'm here to serve, whether it's janitorial services. My last name is Torres, so. Whatever is needed, the answer is yes, wholeheartedly, whatever is needed.
Secretary.
Nothing is ever done, without enthusiasm, and, I will bring enthusiasm to whatever I do, and whatever it is, I'm in to help make this better.
Thank you.
This question is for all four of you.
And it'll start with number 2.
Oh, number two. In one sentence, if elected to the board, what would be the top 3 measurable and quantifiable objectives you'd like to see the club accomplish during your term?
One sentence,
One sentence, 3 next time.
3 measurable goals. I guess it would be budget neutrality. Member satisfaction. And member satisfaction.
Okay.
Well done. Hard question.
Thank you, Brian. Don't think I'll have to answer this. Improving kitchen, just kind of the right way to go. Satisfaction. I won't say it again. Satisfying the staff.
Please stop, by the way. Exceed member expectations in the following areas. 1, increase member experience, increase member satisfaction, increase member equity.
Sorry for this answer.
The golf course, the golf course.
Period.
Any more questions?
Any other? One sentence.
Well, I was gonna shy away from questions related directly to the golf course, but since you brought it up. So everybody understands what is going on last year. We all approved, or got approved this plan, everybody bought into it. $6-8 million later, and then when we were ready to open this whole thing up, something happened. You know, the brown spot thing just kind of got away from everybody. What would you say to the management? And what kind of guidance could you give? So that something like this, it doesn't happen, right? And maybe a hint to this is, there's no one person that can inspect every blade of grass. So I'll just throw that open. How could you add value to that?
Start first, or do you want to go?
Yeah. I just think that was one of those things that happened, it would take 5 things to happen for those fairways to be burned up and not paid attention to. and they probably all happened at the same time. Whether it was the heat, the drought, the construction, switching over to the normal maintenance crew, all that, there was a overlap, a underlap. And it just, once it starts, I don't think you could save it, but what's been done is incredible out there. I love the course right now, better than it's ever been. And it's just gonna get better.
I echo that. I'm just kidding, I'll say something. First of all, it goes back to what I said earlier, the board has the obligation to ensure that management, have the right management, and that they have the right teams, tools, processes, capabilities to enable what the vision and the planning and the expectations are. I can say historically, I don't know that we've always had the best out there, taking care of our greens and taking care of our grounds and property. But because we have the right management, changes have been instituted to ensure that doesn't happen. At the end of the day, it always comes back to the people, the knowledge that they have, the tools and support that they have. There's it's a perfect storm. A lot of things happen together. I agree with what you said. That's atypical. But I think as we look forward, do we have the right people? Do we have the right leadership? Do we have the right plan? Do they have the right capabilities to ensure not only that doesn't happen again, but that we raise the standard and that we move beyond where we've been? And I think the answer is yes. And that's the obligation of the board to ensure that we don't let you down in that area.
Great question. So I played a lot of regional golf. I probably play here less than anywhere. And throughout the region, that was a common problem. And so it wasn't specific to Toronto. It's more of a regional problem. With that said, I'm a big believer in keeping the eye on the ball in terms of deferred maintenance. Because this club has allowed a lot of deferred maintenance over the last 25 years and looked the other way. And I think we're at a point now that we have the staffing that knows what to do and will get it done. And so I'm a big believer in it. And that's probably one of the bigger reasons that I'm willing to do this. I mean, I hope I don't look not excited, but but because it's gonna be work, right? But I'm happy to take it on because it's very much worthwhile.
But I'm on the Greens Committee, if I could admit that. And we would obviously talk about this a lot during summer. When we got ready to send the message out to the membership, I set these principles. I said, look, number one, we need to recognize that there's a problem. We need to acknowledge to the membership that we have a problem. Because I was catching it from all sides, catching it from all different kinds of people. What's going on here? First of all, you have to recognize and acknowledge that there's a problem. Two, address the problem, which is to say diagnose in my business, but find out what the problem is from. Because oftentimes if you look at it, I go, oh, it's all dried out. It must need more water. Well, I mean, I have to say, Josh did an incredible job with this problem to find the problem. It wasn't in fact water, it was in fact fungus. Well known by now. Because you can't treat things properly and get good results unless you have the right diagnosis of the problem. And so to help make things healthy and keep things healthy requires recognizing things early, seeing the patches happen early, being curious enough to find out why. We sent lab samples. Josh did, I should say. Josh sent lab samples to an agricultural company that made the diagnosis, was able to find a treatment for that, and obviously, of course, in better condition now. But being curious enough and being anticipatory enough to look for the warning signs. It's like I'm teaching my 16-year-old kids to drive right now. You say, look, it's not just what's in front of you, but look around and see what could possibly come into your lane and be aware of all the potential dangers out there. I think that's true, as you mentioned, kitchen equipment, that we have severe problems with being able to produce the food in proper times, but just looking for anticipating problems and addressing them early, I really do believe that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And we also anticipate, I feel we anticipate problems and have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, so that we never get caught with that situation.
Any follow-on? Any follow-on questions from the audience?
Hi, I'm Mark Christensen. I've been in Eagle for about 2.5 years. Who's the first person that's gonna?
Hi, Mark.
So, question is, have you ever called in at 7:03 for a tea time, and what would you do to improve that process?
But the answer is yes. Look, I know that there's a lot of opportunity for us to improve the experience as it relates to booking tea times. How would I, so if I had a magic wand and it's my problem to solve, I would subscribe to more digital innovations that are out there that allow booking to be done over a phone or an app that sort of eliminates humans from having to curate that. That said, I understand what that means too. And so I don't know that that's just like the default only solution, but I think that there are, and to be fair though, when I booked it at 7:03 and I had, a challenge getting it booked, that's not recent. I would say over the last 6-8 months, I don't know why, I couldn't tell you, maybe I should dig into it. My experience has been better. Although I don't golf at 7:15, 7:30 all the time. So maybe I'm an anomaly, but my experience has not been the same as 2-3 years ago.
Oh, well, I don't know if I have a great response to this question, because I'm not playing at 7:03. Ever.
Excuse me, I'm interrupt. I don't think he means that he needs a 7:03 tea time. He's saying that when he calls in, he's in line.
Let me clarify. I play at least 3 times a week.
Yep.
I do not play at 7 o'clock in the morning, but that's when the tea times
Oh,
are open.
gotcha.
And my experience at 7:03 has been that there are no tea times available before 1 p.m.
On every day?
Every day.
Okay. Well, I guess I don't play enough here. I've not had a problem getting a tea time, but I generally am going to play in Saturday morning. And then in the afternoons during the week, if I play, like at 3 or 4. I do want to mention one thing though. And it's about stewardship of the course, which is not related to your question, but I did want to bring this up. I think it's important that we develop some level of stewardship for all of our members in terms of fixing the fairways, fixing the divots on the greens. I think the high school teams during their practice rounds should be fixing the fairways and the greens to help with the maintenance of the course. And that doesn't relate to your question because I don't call in, but sorry. But I can talk for another 20 minutes on a lot of subjects if you want.
Thank you, Mark, for the question. I've had the same problem, experienced it a lot more in the past than I had recently, especially during COVID. The utilization of the course went through the roof. I actually started practicing way more than I was playing. I used to play more than I practiced, and I practiced more than I play. I'm gonna give you 2 answers to the question. Number one is, oftentimes when I'm faced with a decision of difficulty or whatever, I say, well, what is everybody else doing? Well, how is Granite Bay handling this? How is Del Paso handling this? How is Caddo Dare handling this? And I would enlist the intelligence and the wisdom of other people from in similar situations doing the same. I do that all the time about life. How does anybody know how to get cheaper car insurance for 2 16-year-old kids? So that would be my one question, one answer to your question. The other question is this: I spent 8 years at Northridge Country Club here in Fair Oaks in Sacramento. And we had some problems. In fact, their situation was that the members could come earlier than the phone was open in person. So all the people who lived close to the course would drive their golf carts up to the pro shop, make their tea times, and then go back home, have their coffee. And all of us who lived more than 5 miles away kind of closed. And they eventually end up doing, well, they had, number one, they did an online tea time, they did 4Ts, which is an online tea time making situation, which I really love and for different reasons. I can talk about it later. I can take more of my time now. But the other thing they did is they had a problem with Saturday mornings. The same guys were getting the same tea times every Saturday morning. And it was driving those people who weren't in the 30 or 40 preferred people groups kind of upset. And what they eventually ended up doing was doing a lottery system. And they said, you will sign up, you want to play Saturday morning between 7 and 11, you put your name in, and we will tell you, and they will, the pro shop curate where and like understanding that there's these 16, 20, 25 people who want to play together, that's fine. They would find a place for them in that 7 to 11 spot. And also, if you had gotten the 8 a.m. Saturday morning spot before, you didn't get preference for it the next couple of weeks. So they made sure that everybody had the same ability to get a decent tea time, whether it was winter, fall, doesn't matter what season. But they made sure that everybody's put together, and then they would put it on the 4Ts, which was online tea time system. And they would put it on there Friday at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So they'd have you have submissions in by Friday noon. And then they would post it Friday at 5. So then you would know and be able to get there when you want. I hope that answers your question, but solicit the wisdom of the collective golf community.
You're done, aren't you? I can tell the way you're looking at me.
I'm just saying that you guys are done.
No, and usually Tuesday mornings, try to get more of a noon round the next Tuesday. And sometimes it takes anywhere from 3 minutes to 17 minutes to get through. So you just gotta be patient. If you get an earlier tea time than that, I haven't tried, so I don't really know how that works, but there are better ways to do it. Some of your ideas sound very good, but we should discuss it for the future.
We hit our hour. We did everything we needed to get done in an hour. Did anybody else have a question that we are not addressing? Because I want to make sure we do that before we dismiss. I can't thank you guys enough, both the candidates as well as everybody that's shown up tonight to really be engaged and ask some sincere and genuine questions of our candidacies. Please, everybody vote and make sure that you head in there and have a good cocktail or two with these 4 wonderful gentlemen. Thank you, guys. Thank you.